Welcome back to QORcast, and today we have a very, very special guest. We have Emuhleet. Did I pronounce it right? I need to make sure.
You're close. It's Emuhleet.
Emuhleet. Okay. So the U is silent, I'm guessing?
Well, it's UH, so it's like Emuhleet. Yeah, I was young when I made that.
It's okay. It's still aged well. There's
I've definitely had bad usernames previously that I've had to change, so that stood. So
I'm happy I changed my some usernames before we started.
Curious,
this,
what was the worst? You said
some
bad ones.
Okay. Back when I was like 13, 14, I was still very big into CS because CS was the game back then.
Yes.
I was playing Face It, and one of my names was Roadkill.
That's a good one. What's wrong with that one?
That's funny.
I used that, but then when I got older, I was like, wait a minute, kind of insensitive because people think I'm like killing animals, and I don't want to like get anybody angry. So I was like, I'm just gonna switch it. So I went to Galaxy because I was very into space science.
Yeah.
So I was really into that. So I was like, let's go Galaxy, and then I'm gonna switch it up just to have my A in the middle. Changed it because a lot of CS pros back then had like switched up their names a little bit when capitalized. So I was like, I want to be like them. So that's what I did.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Danny's just Danny.
Yeah, I'm just Danny. I just retired.
No originality.
Nothing. It's just my name.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get into it. First, so you've had a long career as a pro in the esports scene as a general. Can you tell us exactly a little bit on how your road was like when getting into esports? Because you got in pretty early when like esport was still just this very, very small thing with like little things going on. Can you like elaborate on the road getting into there?
Yeah, so I started playing Counter Strike 1.6. I was very young. I think I was still in middle school, actually. And
Nice.
I'm from SoCal, so California has just had a tremendous Counter-Strike scene, and lots of pros came from California in Counter-Strike. So I was lucky for my location because there was a lot of LAN tournaments. So I just met a few people online and eventually started to hear about these LAN tournaments, and that's just what I would go to. Every single LAN tournament, I was there. And I wanted to compete. I don't want to go to watch and hang out. I wanted to compete and play amongst, these pros that I love to watch. It was a long road because, first of all, it was difficult to get on a team. I was one of the only girls there, so a lot of people were like, heathen, stay away from me, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just different. So I learned from a few people that maybe they didn't want me to be on their team because I wasn't good. Instead of the fact that I was a girl. And so this switch of mindset really changed it for me right from the beginning. So I was like, okay, I'm going to train hard and I'm going to try to get good to join a team. And that's exactly what I did. Eventually I started getting on a team. I started having some clips from these LANs, like a P90 ace clutch. And that's just how I started to get known as the P90 queen, because that's all I would use. Whatever. That's in Go, that when that happened. And so that's just kind of how it all began, was going to these LAN tournaments and just training hard and watching, studying. And I had some really good support that helped me along the way. All while going to school, college, working full-time.
Yeah, that's what I also wanted to ask you, because, I mean, unlike today where esports, like, there's lots of money when it comes to involved in it, like, also with content creation and Twitch. How was it when you were competing? I'm guessing, like, because the prize pool wasn't really that big, or, like, a lot of the events back then in esports wasn't really that, like, sustainable as, like, a full-time thing.
It never was about money. It never, ever was about money. Esports was never a career when we first started. And so it was just about bragging rights. You wanted to go home and be like, I won that tournament, or can I curse?
Yeah.
I kicked your ass, or whatever, So that's what it was about. I mean, there was pro teams like Complexity or that won a tournament, and I think all they won was mouse pads or something. It didn't matter. It was never about money. There was hardly any salaried teams and so on and so forth. So once there started to get money into it, that was just all a bonus. It's just, that's never what drove the passion from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's awesome.
So it's more just passion more than anything. Because a lot of them went to school. Like you said, you still went to school, but then also like competed. So it was just like, would you say it was like kind of felt like a hobby for you in a way?
No, I would definitely not call it a hobby. Actually, it was my life. I've consumed Counter Strike. It's just the whole. I wanted to be the best. That's it. I wanted to be the best in Counter Strike. I didn't care if I didn't do well in school. I didn't care if I wasn't healthy, which, took a long time for me to balance life and work. I just wanted to win, and that was it. And so I lived, breathed, and slept and thought about Counter Strike nonstop. So, I don't think it was a hobby, and it not necessarily was an addiction. It was purely a passion is the word that I use.
100%.
So like you did start off at CS, but then you also went a career in Valorant also. I wanted to ask you, what was the environment like when during the CS days and also at Riot? Like, do you see like what was like the environment like, the people, the admins and everything? Can you tell us like a little bit on like how the duality between them two felt when you were competing in both of them?
Esports thrived as well as it did because of the community and the players and the gamers, not because of large corporations. Because we're the ones that made it as big as it was, playing in basements, literally. So I think that's one of the biggest difference between working with Riot and Valve. Valve is started from their very, very early stages, and so they're a more community ran leniency, I guess, ran on their side. Riot, on the other hand, came along when things were thriving, and so they were much more corporated, I guess. I'm missing a word here,
organized?
But much more organized is a good word. Yeah, much more organized, to the point, and there was rules and things to follow, which isn't a bad thing. It's good too. So that's kind of one of the biggest differences working with both. There's pros and cons to both, like I would say, and it was nice to experience both games, both franchises.
What would you prefer when it comes to, like you said, the community aspect of it? What would you prefer more? Was it the Riot side or the Valve side?
I guess it really doesn't matter which company. It just depends on who's working for what.
Yeah.
The people working within companies, and we saw this happen with esports organizations, and why so many crashed and burned is because people came into the scene that had no idea what the heck they were doing, or their heart wasn't in the right place. And like I said, esports thrived because our heart started when there was no money whatsoever. It was just pure passion and joy. So some people came into the scene where their heart wasn't in the right place, and I think that's one of the reasons of why it crashed and burned. So it doesn't matter Riot or Valve, it just matters who's working within those companies and if they truly care about the players and the game.
So did you find like which one was in your opinion do you think was like a better experience for you when it came to the companies wanting to work with the players? Do you find it in like Valorant, or do you find it better in CS:GO?
Well, Valve isn't really. We're the forgotten baby in Counter Strike. Valve doesn't really do any involvement besides the major, so that's kind of a difficult question to answer. I don't know.
I understand. So, we all like there's over the years, CS has gained bigger, and so has esports. Do you think that I know with the community being I know CS:GO is officially over technically, so do you think CS2 will be more accepting for everyone, because you see a lot on Twitter and a lot of people complaining on like if like females should be in esports, people always like arguing, which is stupid. Anybody and everybody should be involved in esports. Do you think that CS2, because it's a new game and under like it's a fresh start, do you think that people are will start being more accepting?
Well, I've learned in my life that no matter where you go, whether it's a career, like my career in nursing, I'm facing barriers like that, or a career in esports, you're gonna be faced against people who don't want you there. And it doesn't matter. It's not gonna always be gender based. It could be based off of how you look, your religion, what you believe in. No matter where you go, there's going to be people. So whether CS2 is going to be more accepting of everybody, not everybody's always going to accept everybody, no matter where you go.
Yeah.
I can't control on how people think and act, but I can control how I think and act. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, because if I think that I can break this barrier and continue through the struggles, then I will. If I think that I can't because I'm listening to people who don't want me to, then I won't. And that's with everything that you do.
Yeah, that's great.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just...
No, like seriously though. Like that's a great way to look at it. I feel like we've asked a similar question to like other people in the scene, and they definitely give us a more like clear-cut answer, like, yeah, I think this will be this way or whatever. But I definitely think that's a much better way to look at it. Like, I can control what I can control, and I can accomplish what I can put myself to.
It's so much bigger than just looking at, does this person not like me because I'm a girl? It's so much bigger than that in the world. And if we want to make it a better place, we're going to have to think a little bit outside of the box. So that's what I'm trying to do. And hopefully I can inspire others to kind of change their mindset on that. We did a lot of training when I was on Dignitas with the Philadelphia 76ers sports psychologists, and this is kind of what they've taught us, is that the best basketball players in the world also face hate, and people don't want them there, I don't know, because they're too tall and they have an advantage or whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Like Joel Embiid would get hate, and so when I was like, you know what? You're right. No matter what I do, I'm still going to get hate. So I'm just going to worry about me, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, like, what steps do you think people should start taking? Like, I know you said not everyone is going to be accepting. It's facts. But what steps do you think people, like, would you do to, like, advise people to take that in the right direction? Like, take steps into the right direction?
I think we have top streamers that I've been seeing lately and pro players that start a discussion about just being a better person, because before there was sometimes big streamers are actors. They act a way to get viewers, and sometimes it's a toxic way. And young kids look at this and see this, but they don't know it's acting. So that's kind of created an environment that's not healthy. So now I'm seeing people that are backing down and starting to say, you shouldn't act this way. And that's one thing that I always say is, if you see something that makes you feel uncomfortable, or someone treating somebody a way that they shouldn't be, just step up and say, hey, you shouldn't do that. And I've done that before. For instance, I'm in a ranked game, and I was doing good, so I wasn't getting picked on. But this guy was picking on a guy that had, like, no kills. And he would not shut up every round, just picking on him. So I was like, you know what? You need to stop treating him that way. You should be a good teammate and motivate him instead of pushing him down. And then I started to get picked on because of that, making fun of my voice. But at least that guy felt like he had support, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. You should always, like, more and more streamers. It's not because people are like, oh, you know, I have no say in this, but, like, people who average like thousands of viewers on stream should always like put up a discussion. They don't have to always put an opinion, but they should at least be somewhat educated in the sense, and always be a role model for it. Example, like someone like Tarek, like he was of course an ex-pro, but now when he comes to VALORANT, he really he's like, of course, we've never met him in person, but he seems like what he's on screen is how he is in person.
Because Counter Strike, and
Yeah.
he's such a good person, and I love him as a streamer too because he lays down the law. He recognizes if somebody's being toxic or like talking crap about another player, he tells them like stop that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he's just a really great person too.
How he stood up to Jason Orr back in the day, back like a year ago. That whole fiasco was that was a monumental moment in Valorant history.
Yes, amen. All praise Tarek.
So, of course, like we said before, you've competed in both Riot and like in Riot's Valorant and Valve's CS:GO, and now CS2. What do you think it will be more successful in the long run? Do you think that people should start being more invested into the CS scene, or do you think like Valorant will overtake it in a few years? What do you think is your opinion on those?
Well, again, I would say choose whatever game you're passionate about and where your heart is. Don't go to a game expecting to make $1 million.
Yeah.
That's not how you do it. You have to have your heart into it. With that being said, I think there's a lot of issues in the moment with some of the Riot games in terms of the scheduling. I think it's been a big discussion by the players. There's too long of an off season. The on season went by like the blink of an eye. I think they really need to take a look at some of the successful FPS games that have already had a tremendous amount of success from the way they've ran their leagues and events and change their format, because what works in League of Legends might not work in Valorant. It's a whole different community and game. So I think that right now Riot is on a little bit of a plateau with Valorant and their lack of support that they had in Game Changers in the last 2 years is really, really upsetting. So, yeah, I think CS2, like I said, it's worldwide. This game's gonna thrive like it always has for the past 20 years. So I really do want to see Valorant do well. But like I said, it just matters on the decisions that are being made from the top.
Yeah. Like you said about the scheduling thing, where like I think it was like an average each team is playing like 12 to 14 games a year, and then they're having like a 6 months off season, which is insane
that's
because
like nothing.
Yeah, because I think Elige came out and he was like, yeah, we're playing for like 250 days a year. We're playing, and then we have like off season for maybe 2 months. So it's kind of insane because you add that to the because there's also other events. Right? I know Riot's very like, oh no, you have to play our events. That matters, but it's like you're playing 4 or 5 matches a split, and that's not much. What would you do to like in your case? What would you do to help maybe fix Riot scheduling issues? Like, would you maybe have like an off-season tournament? Do you want others like, I don't know, you know how there's like Facer, ESL, they come in as a third party to run it. Do you think Riot should be more open to third parties coming in and running events to help?
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you have a certain amount of prize pool, you have to pay for the licensing with Riot where you don't with Valve. At least not as low of a prize pool. So I think that's something that they need to do. They need to allow more tournaments to happen. Why? It's really ruining the economy system for both players and events. Why would an organization sign a team when they're not going to be playing for half of the year? Why would a player invest their time day in and day out when they're not going to get salaried for it? It's a full-time job. So it's really off balance right now. I think the start is allowing there to be more tournaments. Us as viewers want to watch more matches. We don't want to watch just 12 and be done with it. It's so sad. There's so much potential that is not being used.
Because because they're implementing the whole franchising system into it. Do you think like that should be it? Because not event.
Every game, it was not a success. Where was it successful? Can you tell me that?
Yeah.
I don't think it worked in Overwatch. No, I don't think it worked in Overwatch either.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No one cares about Overwatch League.
It doesn't work. It's not franchising.
Because I think Yeah, because when we come to Overwatch, they wanted to try to make it like, oh, we're like the NBA, NFL, MLB,
Yes.
but people were like, it's an
This
international
sucks.
game. Why are you trying to go for American format when the American format sucks? So, but because with this, instead of like League of Legends, that they had their franchising, you had to pay for that. This was like you have to apply for it, and that's where people were also a little weirded out on. It's like you have to apply for it, and it was a whole weird situation with it. Because with tier 2, like for me, like our org, we're in tier 2, so I'm like very invested into it. It was like a very nice thing because for that, it's like there's relegation. So like you can't just go buy 5 players and be like, oh, we're stuck here, we're good. Like no, you actually have to be a good team. And I feel like franchising could be good if they had a relegation system, but for some reason they don't add that. And doesn't make it interesting.
There's no stakes.
Yeah, because we're gonna see like Crew or Furia or like MIBR just go 0-12, and then they'll still be like, all right, see you guys next year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because with like at least with CS's rankings, like okay, you're like for example, Complexity just bombs out every 4 events. Like their rankings go down, and then it's like you're not gonna be placed high in events, so you're not gonna be playing as much events, for example. It's just like that's also another thing is with with Valorant is like people always complain. It's like where's enough games, but then Riot comes out and says there's a lot of logistics going on with it. It's like do you think it's a BS excuse they're giving for not allowing a lot of like games played?
I think there's a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't know, and we'll probably never know, but I think that there's a lot of things that are not being done that could be done. You had mentioned the Counter Strike format, which I think is ultimately the best for gaming esports to thrive, because by the way, Valve announced that they're getting rid of the franchising in the near future. So how it used to be, and when esports, at least FPS games, Counter-Strike, whatever, was like millions of views in the major, was when they had the setup of Pro League, then it was called MDL League, which was tier 2, and then the rest of the leagues. So how it worked was, for Pro League, there was always relegation matches. So if you're the bottom 2 teams, and then you're the top 2 teams in tier 2, you fought for your spot. I love that. Everybody feels like they have a chance that way. With franchising, you never have a chance. You have to have connections and friends, and ultimately, at the end of the day, how you play doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I like that format the best. Have the worst 2 teams battle out with the best 2 teams from tier 2 and tier 1, and you'll feel like you have a path to being at the top.
Yeah. Because it felt like what you said, it was like, you can connect. It felt like what you said, it was like, it's more who you know than what you know. Then, like, for example, it's like more just connections than like, he's a cracked aimer, but this guy knows 3 people and executives. They'll get him signed and everything.
Yeah.
So it felt like a little like there's no.
It's always connections, though. You still have to have friends, but I'm just saying it's more percentage of that than.
Yeah, it's a lot more like locked up than if you could just like win your way to the top in franchising, which just isn't the case.
I think Valorant would do so well with that format of relegations every season and just get rid of franchising, personally. But
yeah, I feel like they went like a complete 180 to like everybody could play in the open bracket, like when Valorant first came out, and then they decided, okay, we're locking everybody out, like only 8 teams or whatever. It was great
at the start, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was exciting.
We had like 30, 40 orgs just invested into it because there was an open bracket. And that was so much fun because you had like Dignitas, you had Luminosity, you had NIP. Everybody was like, we're invested because it's open bracket, anybody can join. But now it's because of the franchising, you have to talk about all that. It's like, it ruins it.
Yeah. And they also had like the WAC teams. that would get through, like
Yeah.
every once in a while.
There's a lot
So
of
it's
underdog
like,
stories.
what are these 5 guys playing in their mom's basement
I
that just
love
got through? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know understand Riot, they want to make money and they want to like capitalize on viewerships and everything, but they have to also understand it's like I understand where they're coming from because a lot of people in open bracket it was hard to keep up. Like I get it because who's on this team? Okay, what team is playing here? I get that, but that was also like the fun part of it because like when it actually started to get like closer to top 16, top 32, that's where it's like okay now it gets exciting. Now we get 3 teams. It was like during the open bracket, TSM was like dominating, but like they started getting out in top 32, top 16. It's like, who are these 5? And then they got accepted. That those guys got exposure, and it was really fun. So
Exactly. Yeah. It could be so much better than what it is now.
yeah, I mean, hopefully, Riot listens, but
Hire me,
unlikely.
Riot. I'll change the ways.
Honestly, if they hired former pros to run the esports environment, it would be 1,000 times better. But
So much advice I could give them. But yes, who knows?
who knows if Riot will ever
yeah,
listen?
a bunch of guy in suits definitely know how it should go down.
Yeah.
But
But final question. I know you answered this a little bit more, but it's just a little bit of a reformat for the question. What advice would you give people who are getting into esports? It's either as a pro, a coach, or a content creator who wants to get involved within the esports scene. What advice do you think they are to get into the path of it in the safest way and the best way possible?
So I gave some advice earlier about the mindset to have to try to be successful. So I guess another advice I'd like to give is about how important staying organized is and balancing your health, wellness, and gaming. So for me, I'm exhausted. I work full time as a nurse. I work from 6 to 4. And then I rush home to practice. I'm late to practice. And then practice is usually at 4, so I'm about an hour late. 4 until 9. And then after that, I'm doing extra work with our coach. We're sitting down and figuring out some of the mistakes to go over. We do that for about 2 hours. Then I do content creation for Thunderpick and Ant Online. So then I got to create some video. I mean, this is my day 5 days a week. So that's why I was a little late today. I slept in a bit because I'm freaking tired.
that's
but anyways,
all good.
You're good.
I think I do a little bit extra, but I want people to still do things that they love to do. So advice, stay organized. Have everything written down to a T on a calendar. I also suffer with severe anxiety, and one of the tips I got from my therapist was to write things down to help you sleep, because at nighttime I'm like, oh my God, I have a million things to do. What do I do? What do I start with? So write things down, prioritize that, and stay organized, and that will slowly get you towards the path that you want to go.
Okay.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of esports has gotten a lot bigger, so like there's a lot of now there's agencies and there's like people like you said, there's coaches are more prevalent now, there's management, or there's millions of dollars in stakes, and now it's not like 10 years ago where it was like more of a passion thing, but now it's more just like, okay, it's an actual business. Because when I was like talking to someone about esports and like contracts and all that, they always say it's like, hey, just not everybody is always peachy or nice about it when they promise you something in like orgs. Like you always talk.
The org is always out for the org. Actually, yes, be very careful when signing contracts or with an agency that claims to help you. I've gotten scammed by a few people in the past. Be very careful signing contracts. Read through everything. And if there's something that you want changed and the company says, oh, it's just a verbal agreement, no. Get it written in there, because they will scam you over. They're more for themselves than they are for you. That's an advice that I wish I had when I first started.
Because the orgs are like, of course, like it's a business. So like, when you're signing a contract with them, you're signing a contract with that company.
Yeah.
So like, I was always told like you should always get a lawyer, no matter what the contract says, even if it's small or big. Always a lawyer. So we were advised that also. So we were actually curious about that. But yeah, I think that's it for the interview. Thank you, Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Do you want to promote anything? Any upcoming projects you're working on? Any big things going on? Do you want to promote?
But my team's currently competing in ESL Impact, so we have our matches every week. So make sure you guys support us there. I would love it very much. We're looking for partners or an org to sign us. I work my butt off, and I will do it for you. Also, I have a podcast too called Pixel Perfect Wellness, where I talk about all things wellness and health in gaming. So check it out.
Nice.
Perfect. Thank you for coming on, and thank you guys for listening.
You.
Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.
All right, we just finished our interview with Emuhleet. That was awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Emuhleet. Shout out to you. Appreciate you.
She followed me back on Instagram.
Oh, she followed me on Twitter.
Not Instagram, on Twitter.
Yeah, she followed me on Twitter too. Kind of baller.
I feel like I beat life.
Yeah, we won. That's it. We actually should delete our account now. We don't need it anymore. We beat life now.
I'm quitting the podcast.
Oh, that's it already?
Yep.
All right. We'll
done.
Facts. All right. I'll find somebody else. We'll find like someone on the street to like to sub for you. But when it comes to the news weeks, it's been pretty slow news week this week. So there hasn't been
Newsweek this week.
Newsweek this week. Is that gonna be the Newsweek this week?
I got you.
So, but we're gonna be talking about. I think last time we recorded, Clove just came out.
She got announced.
She got announced.
They.
Sorry, they got announced.
How about we restart that line?
No, I think it's fine. People, as long as you remember. My bad. They have gotten announced, and they're pretty good. Like, think of Reyna, but if Reyna had smokes.
I think all the Reyna players are just gonna play Clove.
To be honest with you, I'd rather have that. I think that's
because at least then
solid.
you get some utility.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
No, you're
they are not as busted as I thought. I thought it was gonna be totally game breaking. Like really?
They are meta though. They are meta. Like,
yeah, but it's like
every game I'm either having one on my team or the other team. And I think every single
it's because they're new though as well.
Yeah.
Because the smoke range isn't like that far.
It's about Omen's.
You get it's shorter than Omen's.
Oh no, it's like
Omen
Brims.
is like but they're smaller than Brims, definitely. Because even when you die.
No, the radius on it is massive. When you die, the radius when you die.
Oh, it gets smaller when you die. Because I've only seen it.
No, it's kind of so like how it works is when they die, and like for example, we're on Ascent, they die on B, they can't smoke on A. They can only smoke on that site.
Mm-hmm.
So which I was like, okay, that's fine, that's balanced. Because imagine like you die on B lurking and then you can smoke on A, like that's kind of broken.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's been pretty good, and surprisingly enough, I've had more comers ever since Clove came out. So unironically,
because
Clove
the
is
Reyna
fixing
mains don't just run in and shoot.
Yeah.
They call their smokes now.
And then the ult is pretty good because it works like a reverse Phoenix, basically, where if instead of you ulting, then dying, you going back, you die, then come back. And then you have like a short time before you either have to get a kill or an assist.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get one of those.
A damaging assist, though.
Yes, a damaging assist. So you have to get a kill or a damage.
The decay ball doesn't count.
Yeah. The
you have to shoot them.
Mm-hmm. So if you get a damage, like with a gun, assist or kill, you'll come back and then you'll be fine. Which, it's fine because like when she leaves, it like, I love it because sometimes imagine like it's a 1v1 and like you kill them and then they're ulted. You just follow them through. So like while they're phased, you just follow them and you're like,
also if they are the last person alive in the round or on a team, you can't ult.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. Because then it's not like, oh, the round is over. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Like, if, like, they have to use it before. Like, they want you to use it as an entry, like, at the start of the round. Like, they want you to jump in, die, res, and, like, get back to safety, and then re-peek. I think is the intended use. So.
I think with their kit, I think I do like it. Because you only get 2 smokes like Omen. You place it like a brimstone, like how it's like his iPad comes out, like they have like this like thing. But so I like it's not like it's like it's because it's the only reason I'm saying it's like Omen and like Astra is because you can walk inside and it's like hollow in the inside. Mm-hmm. So like that's the good part about it. And when it comes to that, I think it's good, and I do like how like you can place smokes afterwards. But I like how like it's a different color. Like it's a bright color or like a lighter color when it's like you're alive, and when they're dead, it's like a darker color.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty good. But I think right now, as of this moment, they're an A tier, at least minimum A tier agent, because they can basically almost do everything. They can entry if they have their ult, or even if they don't need their ult, they can entry and then play smokes.
you over here.
Yeah, there's an over here. That thing is actually they're gonna nerf that.
It goes to 200 too, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't go to 150.
That's insane.
I believe though it is still a one hit headshot though.
Yeah,
Right, with a Vandal.
With a Vandal, one
Because
headshot.
Vandal it does 205?
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Unless
think-
it does 160 and I'm just fucking bugging.
No, I think
But
it does 200.
I'm pretty sure it did like 200 or 205 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, even if you like do one body, one head, it's still like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's like I think they're gonna get a nerf, like a small one at least. But they are like meta. Also, for VCT, she's disabled or they're disabled because there's like apparently a bug with them. I don't know what bug, but they announced like, oh, there's a bug and we can't really like play them. So they're disabled for VCT right now. So there's no teams playing them right now. I think we're probably gonna see them being played maybe in Masters. But this stage, because stage 1 just started for all regions, we're not gonna see them being played.
Ooh, something else. Did you know that you if you pick up her gun before their gun before they ult, they don't have it.
Wait, so when they die and then they drop their gun?
Yeah, so like me and John were playing
Mhm.
and there was a Clove on the other team and they they died and me and John were both there
Yeah.
and they ulted. And John just goes up and yoinks her gun off the ground, or he yoinks their gun off the ground, and then fucking they came back and they're like, "Where's my gun?"
Wait, I
And
thought
we
they...
just gunned them down again.
Oh, because they're technically dead, so that's why their gun drops.
Yeah, it's so
Oh.
funny.
Oh my god, that's actually hilarious.
So John just picked up the gun and threw it away, and then when they came back,
Yeah.
they didn't have a gun.
So they were using what, their classic or something?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Where's my gun?
Oh, but I like the overall Clove. Like even the design.
I think it's fun. I don't think they're irritating to play against.
They're
I
the
think
most
it's
fun controller so far.
Like, I don't think the game. I think it's a positive impact on the game.
The decay is a little much. I think the decay is like a little over
It's like
100.
I think it's like 80.
Yeah, that's a
Because
little
if
much. I'm not
if
gonna
you
lie.
don't have armor, it brings you to 20 health, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And if you have armor, it brings you to 70, maybe
But-
less.
I think they're probably gonna nerf that to maybe like I don't know. I think 50 or 40 is a good number. 80 is a little much in my opinion.
I think it would be fine, but you have to like regen faster because there's like a delay before you
Yeah.
start regenning. So I think like having it be low or having it like really reduce you is fine because then if someone's close and you know you're there, you could fucking just throw it and then run and gun them around the corner. If
Yeah.
they're- like I think that should be it, but like I feel like if you get hit, you're sitting there for like a good. It's probably like a 1.5 second delay before you start healing, but maybe
Yeah.
like it should hit and you immediately start coming back up.
Yeah,
because
or
like if you get hit with that and people are close, like there's no getting.
Well, no,
out.
there's like the Viper thing. So like if you walk through Viper wall, it's a -30, but it's like a -30 for I think it feels like under a second when you're like going through it. So like maybe it should be like that, or maybe it should be like half a second or like a second or something. But I think the thing they should nerf is definitely the decay, and then I think that's the only thing in my opinion I see that's really broken with them is like their decay. I just don't like how it's like does so like it literally like slows down the entire like imagine you're full rushing, they throw the decay, you're all like one shot now.
Yeah,
You're all,
you
like-
have to stop because if someone just starts spraying through, that's
Yeah.
that's a triple or a quadra.
That's
waiting to
messed. Or like
happen.
if they throw it and then they throw a molly, all right, you're all dead within like instantly. It's like come on, like that's a little much. I think 50 or 40 is a good number.
Yeah.
50 or 40 like nerf is a good number. And I think maybe like I don't know, for the heal you should only go up to max 150. Like you can't go past 150.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe that's the only two nerfs I can think of them. But minus that, I think
Maybe
it's
they
good.
did the 200 because in the future they might be adding an agent that has some sort of like tank qualities, and they're experimenting with it. Because I know that people.
I don't know if you want tanks. Like we already have, because that's gonna ruin the economy because of the game. Like, why should you add like an agent that has tanks? I don't know.
Or
Like a
what?
tank
I
agent.
mean, what if you had an agent that had an ability for like a second that they could pull out like a riot shield kind of thing, like in Siege?
I would say yes if you can place it, not like hold it. You know what I mean? Like if you
Well,
can
maybe
like,
like
place it
it's,
down, and then
it's
you can play,
only limited time or something. Like I don't think it would ever work. Like in Siege, what's his fucking name? Is it Rook? No. I don't know. I haven't played it. There's a guy who has a riot shield, and his ability is that the riot shield like expands, so you can't see him.
yes.
Like that would not work in Valorant. I'm
Yeah.
not saying like that, but maybe they're experimenting with this overhealing thing. Like, okay, what if there's a guy who like it's like Roadhog from Overwatch, where he like injects himself or something, and then like he gets
overheals.
more health or and,
Yeah.
like overheals, and so for a second he could take like an extra bullet or two. Because now they've experimented with, okay, if you have one shot of invincibility with ISO, the 200 overheal with Clove. What if they put
and then
someone else?
Reyna she can basically on eco
Heal-
rounds full
Yeah.
shield.
Like, I wonder if they'll ever add someone who like you can't add a tank to Valorant because then
Yeah.
it breaks the game. But like maybe someone who has like extended survivability abilities.
What I was thinking, extended, if that's the case, what I was thinking is maybe they should put like a force like a wall in a way where like you can like crouch upon it and then you can like quick peek and all that, or like quick to the
like a
side.
head glitchy kind of wall that
Yeah,
you could
like
put.
that's the only thing I can think of, like where you could think of like quote unquote tank. But
Yeah.
that's because in Siege there is like that where like
Yeah,
there's
the
like
deployable barrier.
the
kind
deployable
of thing.
barrier, but then like there's little holes in it where you can like see you can't shoot through it, but you can see who's there, then quickly peek and shoot. So like that's what I was thinking, like the only thing you can add as like a tank, quote unquote. But like when it comes to overheal, it shouldn't go past 150. Just to like even out the economy. Because like if that's the case, Clove doesn't need to buy armor. Like, all right, I'm just gonna go like
Well, I mean, I think it doesn't like constantly heal. I think it heals like a set amount. No, because like if you say you're 10 HP and you overheal, it's not getting you to 200. I'm pretty sure it just probably brings you up to maybe a little over 100. It's real. Like I've only seen people be at 200 if they haven't gotten hit. Like if they peek and one tap somebody, then they'll get to 200.
Yeah, I think, but I think it's just overall, like, even in that case, it's like you're still 200. Like, again, I forgot what the headshot that if the headshot one shot for a Vandal is not over 200, then like what gun?
Then what are you gonna op?
The outlaw? Like that's the only two guns that can kill
just
him.
outlaw people.
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking about it, and I think they should. That's the only two nerfs with Clove I think of. The decay, which should go down to 50 or 40. And then the overheal, you no matter what your HP is, you cannot go over 200 or 150. I'm sorry, you can't go over 150. Like that's the only two things I can think of where I'm like, all right, that we need to like take it back a bit. But yeah, that's our opinion on Clove. Clove is good so far. They're good. They're gonna get a nerf definitely, but they're in a good spot. They're not too broken. But
Core news.
Core news. We have core news. So update for the Valorant boys. We won yesterday. We're officially 1-2. We won, and if you guys haven't already seen it, the Ziff 1v3
With 5 bullets.
5 bullets, 3 kills. Insane. He won it for us in overtime. That was honestly.
That was like double OT? It was like 14, 15.
Yeah, 14-15. If we lost that, we would have went to another overtime. But he won it out, and then we won the series. Honestly, we needed that win, because if we lost, we would have won. We went to map 3, and then map 3 would have been iffy. If we lost that, we would have went to 0-3, and then that would have really put us in a pit to go into relegation.
What was
tournament.
map 3?
I think Breeze, if I'm not mistaken. Breeze was map 3.
Lucky.
And I just don't want to watch Breeze, so there was that too. But no, we won yesterday, so now we're 1-2. We're We're fourth out of the 6 in the standings in our group at least, and we're playing next week, Friday, against Thinking Man. So Thinking Man is 0-3. So hopefully we don't lose to them.
They lost yesterday.
Yeah, they lost yesterday. They're 0-3 right now. So hopefully we don't lose to them. They're
Nice.
right now the bottom of the leaderboard right now. So we need the support for you guys. It's again Friday, the 12th at 7 p.m. EST.
Yeah.
And then we have fighting game news.
Our boy, Too Easy. Again. I feel like every single time he goes to a tournament, we got news about him.
Exactly.
At the Puerto Rico tournament that he went to a couple weeks ago. First in Grand Blue versus
W.
W. And then he got second in Mortal Kombat.
W. I was
W.
watching. I was actually watching that because I had time, so I was picked it up and. Nah, he was doing well. He went through the lower bracket too.
Mm-hmm.
So he crawled
So he came all the way back.
from the lower bracket and he made it to the finals, but unfortunately got second. But no, it was good. I can't wait for it. I know he's been really excited about Multiverse. I know that and the 2X fighting game is going to be
2XKO.
Yeah. I think that he's been really I've been talking to him and he said he's been really excited. Like those 2 games might be his main games when they come out. So
Shit.
we're gonna see a lot. If you like Multiverse or 2XKO, you're probably gonna see a lot of Too Easy on there also. So I'm excited.
And then our last piece of news. There are $20 core shirts coming out. Go buy them.
$20 only. What would you guys do for $20?
Don't answer that.
Answer in the comments down below. What would you guys do for $20? Would you do that?
I don't
Or
like-
would you buy a core T-shirt?
I don't like that. That's opening up for a world of
Oh, God.
awful comments.
Comment section is gonna be insane. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for the interview. We have interviews lined up for the next
Couple weeks.
couple weeks.
Or
So next couple episodes.
episodes.
So to be excited. So expected a guest at least every episode for the next couple episodes. And yeah, see you guys then.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.